Hello everyone. So up till now in marginal costing, we learned about contribution. We learned about the contribution to sales ratio. We also learned how this contribution to sales ratio helps us to find out the profit at different levels of sales activity without knowing the marginal cost. Today we are going to learn what is break-even point. What is the break-even point? How to prepare a break-even chart. The uses and limitations of break-even chart, along with certain examples which will help us to understand the break-even point better. Let's try and recall what we did in our last video. We want to find out the contribution that is made by the sales of one unit. Now we know how do we find contribution. Contribution is selling price minus the variable cost will give you contribution. We will do it more clearly. If our selling price is 100, what is the variable cost? You add all the three variable costs. It is 27 plus 32 plus 8. You add all the three variable costs, it is 67. And if I will minus 67, selling price minus variable cost will give me a contribution of 33 per unit. Okay. Now, from the contribution, when you subtract the fixed cost, you are going to get profits. Let's recall a few formulas that we know. Let's recall a few formulas that we know. Take a little bit of time and try to write the formulas in case if you know it. So, we know selling price minus variable cost will give me contribution. So, how will I find out? This will give me contribution per unit. How will I find out my total contribution? My total contribution is contribution per unit into the sales volume. My total contribution is contribution per unit into the sales volume. So my total contribution would be the contribution per unit into the sales volume. How about profit? How do you get profit? From the total contribution, if you're going to subtract your fixed cost, you will get profit. Always keep in mind this formula, this format of marginal cost statement. It will help you giving all the formulas that you need. What about total variable cost? How do you get total variable cost? Or what is total variable cost also called? It is called as the marginal cost. How do you get the contribution per unit? It is selling price per unit minus the variable cost per unit. You will get the contribution per unit. Is there any other way to find out the total contribution? Because we said contribution, total contribution, you get per unit contribution into sales volume. Is there any other way to find out total contribution? You will say total contribution is total sales minus total variable cost. Total sales minus total variable cost. So what is total contribution minus fixed costs? What will it give you? It will give me either profit or loss. How do you find sales revenue? Selling price into the quantity sold will give you sales revenue. How do you find contribution to sales ratio? Contribution per unit upon the selling price per unit will give you contribution to sales ratio. What is break-even point? Break-even point is a place, it is a situation where you earn no profit, no loss, zero profit, zero loss. I could say where my total fixed cost would exactly recover the contribution. If my contribution is 72,000 and my total fixed cost is 72,000, I would say I made zero profit, zero loss. And a situation where you make no profit, no loss is called a situation of break even. So break even is a situation where the total contribution recovers exactly your fixed cost. So total contribution is equal to fixed cost. At break-even point, your total contribution is equal to fixed cost, or I would say the fixed cost upon contribution per unit will give us the break-even point in units. We will look at this formula in detail in the coming part. So these are the formulas that you need to know thoroughly. Okay, so what do you understand by the term break-even? This is the thing that we are going to discuss right now. Break-even or a break-even point. When do I achieve break-even? I say that I would achieve break-even at a point where my contribution, what is contribution? Sales minus variable cost, contribution minus fixed cost, profit or loss. So where my contribution would completely recover the fixed cost. That means, in other words, I could say we may break even at a point where the contribution is equal to the fixed cost. It is very important to note here that at break-even point, we make no profit, no loss. Contribution is exactly equal to fixed cost. You neither make a profit, neither make a loss. Break-even point, you can calculate in two ways. You can calculate break-even point in units. What is break-even point in units? It is the number of units that you require, that is required to be sold to recover the entire fixed cost. Break-even point in units can be calculated by using the formula total fixed cost upon contribution per unit. We can also find our break-even point in revenue. Break-even point in revenue can be calculated in two ways. The first way to find the break-even revenue is that you have the break-even point in units. You multiply it with the selling price per unit. You will get the break-even revenue. That is the revenue at which you break even. So break-even revenue is the total sales. Total sales means total revenue that is required to break even, total break even sales. When I talk about total sale, it means that number of units into the selling price. So break even is calculated in two ways. Break even point in units and break even point revenue. Break even point revenue can be calculated by this method, or there is another method that we will discuss in the ahead lesson. So break even point in units is calculated by using the formula total fixed cost upon contribution per unit. Come on. This is the information that we have which is related to a product Y. Okay. Now our target would be to find out the break-even point. What would be a target to find out the break-even point? So we would first find out the break-even point in units. Then we can find out the break-even point in revenue. If we have to find out the break-even point in units, we will use the formula total fixed cost upon contribution per unit. So the first thing, the first step to find the break-even point in units, I should know the contribution per unit. How do I find the contribution per unit? It is very easy. You take all the information related to per unit. My selling price is 50. Variable cost is 26. So sales minus variable cost would give me my contribution per unit, that is 24 per unit. What do you think happens at break-even point? At break-even point, my contribution is able to recover the entire fixed cost, leaving me at a situation where I earn no profits, no loss. Break-even point in units can be calculated by using the formula total fixed cost upon contribution per unit, and you have just now calculated the contribution per unit to be 24. So break-even point in units, your total fixed cost is 72,000. The contribution per unit is 24. So when you divide 72,000 divided by 24, you get 3,000 units. It means that if we sell 3,000 units, I will arrive at a situation where we make no profit, no loss, and I would be able to recover the entire 72,000 of my fixed costs. Now I already have the break-even point in units. Can I calculate the break-even point in revenue? Just multiply the break-even point revenue. Just multiply the number of units with the selling price 50. So 3,000 units into 50 would give me 1,50,000. So this is my revenue, the revenue at which I will break even. Let's see. Let's check it over here. Selling price is 3,000 units into 50. So 3,000 units into 50 would give me how much? 1,50,000. Less the marginal cost, 26 per unit into 3,000 units. It is 78,000. Leaving me with a contribution of 72,000. 72,000 is the contribution, and if you see, the contribution is exactly equal to the fixed costs. So break-even point revenue is the revenue at which I break even. That means I will earn neither a profit nor a loss. Correct? Let's see this. We have the same example. We calculated the break-even point in units. That was the number of units that we had to sell to recover the entire fixed cost, and we came up at 3,000 units. Now we were checking it. Our sales is 1,50,000. Our marginal cost is 26 per unit into the break-even point units. So this is giving us 78,000. From the sales, if you subtract the marginal cost, you will come at a contribution, which is 72,000. From that, when you subtract your fixed cost, you will arrive at no profit, no loss. Thus, it is very clearly evident that if I sell 3,000 units, contribution is able to recover my entire fixed cost, leaving us at a situation where I earn no profit, no loss. This is called the break-even point. So our break-even point in units is 3,000, and break-even point in value or in revenue is 3,000 into $50, which gives us 1,50,000. Okay. So this we already calculated. We already calculated the revenue at which the product will break even, and our revenue at which the product will break even is nothing but it is 1,50,000. Correct? The revenue at which the product would break even was 1,50,000. Now, is there any other way in which you can calculate the revenue at which the product will break even? Yes, there is another way in which you can calculate the revenue at which the product will break even, and it is break-even point in dollar, means the revenue at which the product will break even, and it is total fixed cost upon the contribution to sales ratio. Total fixed cost upon the contribution to sales ratio will give me the revenue at which the product will break even. Then you have to find the break even in revenue. We'll write dollar, and I told you the formula for it is total fixed cost upon contribution to sales ratio. This is another formula. So the first thing that I would calculate is that I will calculate the contribution to sales ratio. What is my contribution to sales ratio? Contribution per unit was 24 upon sales 50 into 100. My contribution to sales ratio is 24 divided by 50 into 100, which is 48%. The revenue at which the product will break even, so break even point in dollar, will give me how much? Let's see what is my total fixed cost, 72,000. What is my contribution to sales ratio? My contribution to sales ratio is 48%. So 72,000 divided by 48% will give me 1,50,000. This is the break-even point in dollars. Okay, I think I'm very clear with this. So when we discuss about break-even point, we discuss that a break-even point can be calculated in two ways. The units at which the product will break even, and the second way is that the revenue at which the product will break even. For the units at which the product will break even, it is total fixed cost upon the contribution per unit. And for the revenue at which the product will break even, it is the total fixed cost upon the contribution to sales ratio. Just remember that at break-even point, that point, my fixed cost would be recovered. Now, if I want to find the number of units at which the product will break even, I will divide it with contribution per unit. If I want to find the revenue at which the product will break even, I will divide it by contribution to sales ratio. And I already know the formula of contribution to sales ratio. It is contribution upon sales into 100. Okay. Now let's look at the next part, next question, where I would want you to calculate, okay, the break-even point in units and the break-even point in dollars. Okay, you have to calculate the break-even point in units and break-even point in dollars. Very easy. Break-even point in units is calculated using the formula total fixed costs upon contribution per unit. And break-even point in dollar is calculated using the formula total fixed cost upon contribution to sales ratio. That means you need two things, contribution per unit and unit contribution to sales ratio. So let's see, sales minus variable cost will give me contribution. My sales is 150, variable cost is 70. 150 minus 70 will give me a contribution of 80. So contribution per unit is 80. Contribution to sales ratio is contribution upon sales into 100. Contribution is 80. Sales is 150 into 100. So 80 divided by 150 into 100 gives me 53.33%. So break-even point in units would be 1 lakh divided by contribution per unit 80. So 1 lakh divided by 80 will give me 1250 units. And in revenue, you can find out either by multiplying it with the selling price. So 1250 into 150, it is 1,87,500. Other way to find out is total fixed cost upon contribution to sales ratio. Total fixed cost is 1 lakh. Contribution to sales ratio is 53.3333%. Calculate 1 lakh divided by 53.33%. It is giving me 1,87,511. Okay, so in such cases, you can always cross-check with 1250 into 150. You will take 1,87,511 rounding off to the nearest 100. Okay, am I very clear? So this is the way how we find out the break-even point in units and break-even point in dollars. Let's move ahead. What will happen if I sell more units than the break-even point units? It's very obvious we will earn profits. So when you start earning profits, you start getting safer in your margin. The more units that you sell over and above your break-even point, you're going to get more safer than where you are. Because at break-even point, you're not making any profit nor loss. No profit, no loss. At break-even, no profit, no loss. After break-even point, if you're selling more, you are starting to make profits and you're starting to get safer. The more safer you are, so you can give me a formula for margin of safety. The formula for margin of safety is total production of units minus the break-even units. Okay, see, if you have a positive margin of safety, if you produce more than the break-even, you are more safer. If you produce less than the break-even, you are at a loss, you are not safe. So the margin of safety formula is total production in units minus the break-even units. Let's recall all the formulas. Knowing the formulas is the most important thing in this chapter. Recall all the formulas. Break-even point in units, break-even point in revenue, margin of safety. Think, try. I'm writing, you try to recall. Just try and see if it is the same thing that you're getting. Now we also need to find the percentage, how much safe we are, margin of safety percentage. So that is calculated using the formula margin of safety, the units upon the total production into 100. What does it tell us? What does the margin of safety percentage? Margin of safety percentage tell us? The margin of safety percentage will tell us the difference, how much safe you are actually. What is margin of safety? Margin of safety is the difference between your actual sales that you've achieved, actual sales that I've achieved, or I think, I plan that I am going to achieve these sales, and the break-even sales. So it is the total production minus the break-even point in units, that is the margin of safety. Why do I need to indicate this margin of safety? The margin helps the management to decide how far you can play in the market. If you want to reduce the sales, up to what extent you can reduce the sales. So it indicates to the management how far, how much is your ability to allow the sales to fall before the business will move out of the profit situation into the loss-making situation. So the extent to which you are safe, to that extent you can allow your sales to fall. To that extent you can allow your sales to fall. That is your margin of safety. So you can play in the market up to the level that you are safe. Okay. Now let's look at few more important formulas. Break-even point in units, try to recall along with me. It is total fixed cost upon the contribution per unit. Break-even revenue would be break-even units into the selling price, or total fixed cost upon contribution to sales ratio. Margin of safety in units is total production in units minus the break-even units. Margin of safety percentage is margin of safety units upon the total production units into 100. Okay, after you know all this, let's do a sum where it has all these things. Keeping in mind our concepts, we will solve the most recent board paper of Feb March 21, 9706, paper 22. Okay, Feb March 21. It has things related to what we studied up till now. K Limited, he produces goods at 2 sites and he is using marginal costing. At one site, the company makes a single product and he has the details available. His maximum capacity is 14,500 units per month. Fixed cost per month is 2,16,000. Unit selling price is 90 and he is given as the variable cost. Calculate break-even point per month in units. Now we simply know the formula of break-even point and he's asking per month. Details are given per month. Break-even point in units is equal to my total fixed cost upon the contribution per unit. So the first thing that I would need is the contribution per unit. Total fixed cost is $2,16,000. Contribution is sales minus variable cost would give me contribution. Take everything in per unit. Selling price is 90. Variable cost, just add all the variable costs. 25 plus 36 plus 11 gives me a total of 72 minus 90 or 90 minus 72 gives me a contribution of $18 per unit. So 2,16,000 divided by 18, it gives me 12,000 units. So the break-even point in units is 12,000 per unit. They've asked us to define the term margin of safety. Now what is margin of safety? Nothing. Margin of safety is nothing but it is the difference between your actual or the forecast sales and the break-even point sales. So you just have to write that margin of safety is the difference between actual or the forecast sales and break-even point sales. We'll go to the next point. Okay. Read the next question. Now over here, what is happening is that the directors have decided to make the following changes. They have decided to reduce the selling price by 2%. They decided to introduce sales commission of $2 per unit in excess of 500 units per month. Commission of $2 per unit on every unit that you sell in excess of 5,000 units per month. They also decided to purchase direct material in bulk and obtain a trade discount of 20%. Buying direct material in bulk, it is going to increase the storage cost of 4,000 per month. And the demand will be 98% of the factory capacity. This is the information that we had initially, and they have decided to make certain changes in this information. Okay. we are required to prepare a marginal cost statement. Now, if you clearly know, marginal cost statement follows the format revenue minus variable cost will give me contribution minus the fixed cost would give me profit for the month. So I will directly start with it. I'll make a column of per unit and I'll make a column of the total. The directors have decided to reduce the selling price by 2. Okay, by 2%. What is my selling price? My selling price is 90. If I reduce it by 2%, so 90 into 2% would make it 1.8. So 90 minus 1.8 would give me how much? My new selling price, revised selling price would be 88.20. 88.20. Okay, so this would be my revenue. I still don't know what is the number of units. My maximum capacity is 14,500 units per month. But they say if you do the following changes, the demand will be 98% of the current capacity. So 14,500 into 98%, 14,210. 14,210 will be my new capacity if I do the following changes. So the revenue of 14,210 units would be 14,210 into 88.20. The revenue would be 12,53,322. Okay. From the revenue, I need to subtract the variable cost. What is the variable cost? I have 3 variable costs. One is direct material. One is direct labor. One is other variable costs. Let's see. If I purchase, direct material is 25. They say that if you purchase direct material in bulk, you will obtain a trade discount of 20%. Direct material is 25 into 20% of the trade discount. 25 into 20% of the trade discount. So the trade discount is 5. So your new direct material cost would be 20. Your new direct material cost would be 20 per unit. Let's move ahead with the direct labor. Is there any change in the direct labor? The previous direct labor was given to us as 36. But see if there is any change in the direct labor. Selling price reduced, material, there is sales commission, this is a new extra expense. Nothing in the direct labor. So the direct labor would remain the same 36. Is there any other changes in the other variable cost? No other changes in the other variable cost. That would also remain the same. But they have introduced commission of $2 on every unit sold in excess of 5,000. So 14,210 minus 5,000 gives me how many units? 9,210 units is sold in excess. So this is extra sales commission, variable sales commission. So this is something which they have added in extra. But remember, it will be $2 for the extra number of units that you've sold over and above 5,000. So it would be $2 into 9210. So I will come up with a variable cost of how much? Let's see. 14,210 into 20 for the direct labor gives me 2,84,200. 14,210 into 36 for the direct labor gives me 5,11,560. 14,210 into 11 for the other variable cost gives me 1,56,310. And $2 into 9210 is giving me 18,420. This is all the variable cost. From the revenue, you are going to subtract all the variable cost. From the revenue, you're going to subtract all the variable cost to give you a contribution of how much? Let's see. 12,53,322 minus 284,200 minus 511,560 minus 156,310 minus 18,420, giving me a contribution of 282,832. 2,82,832. This is my contribution. The fixed cost is how much? Fixed cost is 2,16,000. But if I implement these changes, okay, there would be an increase in the storage cost of 4,000 per month. So less fixed cost. The fixed cost would increase by 4,000 per month for the storage cost. So the original fixed cost is 2,16,000. Add the 4,000 per month. So it becomes 2,20,000. 2,20,000. I will get my profit for the month. How much is the profit for the month? 2,82,832 minus 2,20,000 gives me the profit for the month as 62,832. So this is the profit for the month. They had asked you to prepare a marginal costing statement should show the monthly profits. Now I will show you how is the marking scheme works. You get 1 mark for the revenue. You get 1 mark for your revenue. You will get 1 mark to calculate all your variable costs properly. 1 mark for the commission, which is an extra item. You get 1 mark for adding the 4,000 in the fixed cost and having a proper fixed cost. And 1 mark for profit for the month. So this is how you will get 6 marks for your marginal costing statement. Now, they've asked us to find 2 advantages of using marginal costing income statement. One advantage that we have been discussing from before is that it is useful for short-term decision making. Marginal costing income statement is useful for short-term decision making because it concentrates only on the variable cost. You get 1 mark for this. It focuses on the aspects that you can control in the short term. Okay, it focuses on variable costs separately and fixed costs separately. You can also add in that it focuses on the aspects that could be controlled in the short term, and that is why it is used for short-term decision making. Next, it provides more useful data to control the costs. It provides useful data to control costs, and it avoids arbitrary allocation of fixed costs. It avoids arbitrary allocation of fixed costs. Next question that we have is, we'll see over here. You have to calculate the machine hours that is available in August 2021. So the sum started with marginal costing. It had information about the break-even point. You have to calculate break-even point, margin of safety. You need to know the marginal costing statements. Then they asked you the advantages and disadvantages of marginal costing. Now they're asking you to calculate the machine hours available. So you have additional information. At its other side, company makes product X, Y, and Z. The following details are available. Contribution per unit for product X is 15, product Y is 20, and product Z is 27. Machine hours per unit for product X is 1.5, product Y is 2.5, and product Z is 3. That means every unit of product X takes 1.5 hours. Every unit of product Y takes 2.5 hours. And every unit of product Z takes 3 hours. Maximum monthly output in units, you produce 600 units of product X, 300 units of product Y, and 200 units of product Z. The fixed cost per month they have given. Each month they plan to work at full capacity and produce maximum input. In August, only 2/3 of the machine hours will be available. In August, only 2/3 of the machine hours will be available, and they've asked you to calculate the machine hours. Very well. So for product X, you need how many machine hours? 600 units. Each unit is going to take 1.5 hours. So you multiply this. You will get the number of machine hours that you need. Okay? That you need for product X, Y, and Z. Multiply it. See, for product X, Y, and Z, 1.5 hours per unit into 600 units to make. So 900 machine hours is needed. So product Y, you need 2.5 into 300, 750 machine hours. And for product Z, you will need 600 machine hours. The total of all these three is 2,250. But they say in August, only 2/3 of the machine hours will be available. So they want to know the machine hours available in August 2021. So in August 2021, 2/3 of the total machine hours will be available. Total machine hours that you use. So it will be 2/3 of 2250 will be available. So 2250 into 2 divided by 3, it is going to give you 1,500 hours, machine hours will be available in August. 2 marks, you can show the calculation the way you want it. Okay. Now next, the question still continues. Let's read it. The company has a regular order to supply one major customer with 50% of the output of each product per month. Okay, company has to supply 50% of the output of each product per month. 2 options are being considered. Option 1 is that the finance directors have recommended the company to make maximum possible profit in August 21 and if necessary, not complete all major customers' order. Option 2 is the sales director has recommended that the company should ensure it fulfills the major customer's order. Okay. Now you have only 1,500 machine hours available. Calculate the profit or loss based on option 1 and you have to calculate the profit or loss based on option 2. Okay, let's go through the information properly and see what are they asking. So here the question is trying to tell us that in August, in the month of August, I have only 1,500 hours that is available. And I have 3 products, product X, product Y, and product Z to make. Okay, only 1,500 machine hours is available. However, if you produce the 3 units at the full capacity, you would need 2250 hours. That means here you have to make a selection. You have to make a selection as to which product should be given priority. You have to make a selection as to which product should be given priority. So when you have to make a selection as to which product should be given priority, that means you are preparing an optimum product plan. So when you prepare an optimum product plan, there are two things that you need. The first thing that you need is you need the contribution per unit. Contribution per unit. And the second thing that you need the contribution per machine hour. That means every machine hour that you work, how much are you going to earn? How much will be the amount that would be contributed towards the recovery of fixed costs? And the product which has more contribution per machine hour, the product which has more contribution per machine hour would be ranked first and would be produced first. So now, because you have limited number of hours, we have limited number of machine hours. We actually need 2250 machine hours, but in August we have 1,500 machine hours. That means you have to rank the product because you have limited resources. So we are going to find out the contribution per machine hour. But now we have additional information where they are saying that my company has a regular order. The company has a regular order that whatever product that it is producing, in that one major customer will take 50% of the output. One major customer will take 50% of the output and the balance would be remaining for others. Okay. Now company has been given 2 options and there are 2 options that you have to consider to deal with the shortage of machine hours that you have. Option 1 and option 2. Option 1 is telling that the finance directors have recommended the company to make maximum possible profit. That is, the finance directors are telling the company to make maximum possible profit, and I can make maximum possible profit only when I have an optimum product plan. For the optimum product plan, you need to do ranking. How do you do the ranking? First, find the contribution per unit. Then you find the contribution per machine hour. Then you rank the product. And based on the ranking, then you rank the product. And based on your ranking, you will produce the optimum product. So the first option they are telling, make the maximum possible profit, and if necessary, do not complete your customer's order. Don't complete the customer's order. Make the maximum possible profit. That means they have asked us to follow the optimum product plan in option number 1. Whereas in option number 2, the sales director has recommended the company, ensure that you fulfill your customer's order, then you see what is needed. So what will I do is, first I will prepare a working for my optimum product plan. When I'm preparing the working for my optimum product plan, I have 3 products. Product X, product Y, and product Z. Product X, product Y, and product Z. When I'm preparing the optimum product plan, the first thing that I need the contribution per unit. That means how much each unit is going to contribute towards the recovery of the fixed costs. So they've given me the contribution per unit, $15, $20, and $27. Okay, $15, $20, and $27. This is the contribution per unit. I'm trying to find out the optimum. I'm trying to find out the optimum product plan. So the contribution per unit is $15, $20, and $27. Okay, all the amounts are in dollars, so I will write it over here. Second thing, I need to find out the contribution per machine hour. That means every machine hour that I work, how much I am going to recover for contribution. How much am I going to earn? Contribution per machine hour, which will help me recover the fixed cost. So the product which recovers more of the contribution per machine hour is ranked first. How do you find out contribution per machine hour? Contribution upon the machine hours will give you contribution per machine hour. Here, the contribution is 15, machine hour is 1.5. So contribution per machine hour would be 15 divided by 1.5. Contribution per machine hour is $10. In the next one, contribution per machine hour would be contribution per hour divided by the number of machine hours divided by the number of machine hours. So contribution per machine hour is 8. Okay, every unit is taking 3 hours. So per machine hour, that means every hour would give me how much contribution? Contribution per machine hour, $27 divided by 3, it is 9. So I found out my contribution per machine hour as 10, 8, and 9. This is the amount that every hour my machine will work, it will contribute towards the recovery of the fixed cost. Now, if I find out the contribution per machine hour, I am ranking which product should be given first priority. This should be given first priority, this second, and this third. Remember, you have limited number of machine hours. And what is the limited number of machine hours that you have? You have only 1,500 machine hours. And also, the maximum unit of product X that you can make is 600. Of product Y you can make is 300. And product Z you can make is 200. This is the maximum units that you can make. Okay. Now, the first option was, these financial directors have told you that you try and make the maximum possible profit. Forget about not completing a customer's order. So when I have to make the maximum possible profit, I will see the product which gives me maximum contribution. However, I cannot produce more than the maximum limit. So option 1 is that I have to make the maximum possible profit. So in my option 1, I have only 1,500 hours because this is the limited number of hours that is available for the month of August. Okay, what will I do? I can produce maximum 600 units of product X Product X is the unit that is giving me maximum contribution per hour. So I will make all the units of product X first. So I will do full production of product X. So I will do full production of products X. How much is the full production? Maximum units of product X that you can make, I can make 600 units. Every unit would take how many hours? Every unit would take 1.5 machine hours. So product X in all would utilize how many hours out of 1,500 hours? 600 units into 1.5 hours per unit. So total, my product X would utilize 900 hours. Okay, it would utilize 900 hours. And for the utilization of 900 hours, my product X is going to give me $10 per machine hour. Okay, 900 hours my machine will be used to make product X. Every hour that I use the machine to make product X, I would recover. How much would I recover? I would recover $10 per machine hour. So that means my product X would earn $9,000 for me. Now out of 1,500, I've already used 900. Out of 1,500, I've already used 900 hours. So I am left only with 600 hours. Okay, I'm left only with 6,000 hours earning 9,000. Second ranking that we can give is to product Z. Product Z, you can make only 200 units. You can make only 200 units and every unit requires 3 hours. So 200 into 3, you say unit, every unit requires 3 hours. So 600 hours. This is exactly the balance that we are left with. So I will also do full production of product Z. Full production of product Z. How many units I will take? 200 units. Every unit requiring how many hours? 3 hours. So total 600 hours of the machine I will use out of the 1,500 hours. Every hour of the machine that I use, I am going to recover $9. That is the contribution per machine hour. So my product Z is going to contribute in all 600 into 9. It is going to contribute 5,400. So the total contribution that I would receive, the total contribution that I would receive is how much? 9,000 plus 5,400. Total contribution that I'm receiving is 14,400. From this, I would subtract my fixed cost. From this, I will subtract my fixed cost. What is the fixed cost? I will get the profit for August. Let's find what is the fixed cost. Fixed cost per month is 14,100. So I'm going to subtract the fixed cost per month, 14,100. I am receiving a profit of 300 for the month of August. Now this is as per the option 1. This is as per the option 1. Let's do as per option 2. What is option number 2 telling? First, complete your product, your customer's order. Ensure that you fulfill your customer's order. That is 50% of the output that you produce of product X, product Y, product Z. Each output that you produce, 50% will go to the customer. That means in option 2, first thing that you have to consider, that you have to prepare product X, product Y, product Z, and all the three at 50% capacity. Then you would see what is remaining. So fine, we will prepare all the three products for the customer because he's going to take away 50% of my output. So product X for the customer, 50% of the output. He's going to take away 50% of my output. That is, he's going to take away 300 units. Every unit requires how many hours? Every unit requires 1.5 machine hours. Every unit requires 1.5 machine hours. So the total number of hours that product X would take away is 300 into 1.5. It would take away 450 hours. Every hour that my machine is used to make the product X, I would get a contribution per machine hour of $10, which would leave me with 450 into $10. It would give me a total of how much? 4,500 contribution. At the side, I will also be calculating. I have only 1,500 hours. From that, I will now subtract 450 hours of product X that I'm going to use. So I am left with how many hours? I am left with 1,500 minus 450 hours. I am left with 1,050 hours. Okay. So I will name this column as hours remaining. Come on, I have to fulfill my customer's order. My customer's order, product Y, now I will make product Y for the customer, 50% of the capacity. 50% of the capacity is 150 units. Every unit is going to take how many machine hours? 2.5 machine hours. Every unit is going to take 2.5 machine hours. So I multiply by 2.5. The total number of hours that product Y is going to take away is 150 into 2.5. Product Y is going to take away 375 hours. And per hour that I'm going to use the machine, I am going to receive a contribution per machine hour of $8. So 375 into $8, it is going to give me a contribution of $3,000. I will use away 375 hours out of the balance 1,050 hours. I will still be left with how many hours? 1,500 minus 375 hours. I am still left with 1,125 hours. Now I am going to make product Z for the customer. Which product I'm going to make? I'm going to make product Z for the customer. Okay. 50% of the capacity is 200. I'm going to make 100 units for the customer. Machine hour, every unit requires 3 hours. So 100 units would require 100 into 3, 300 hours. Every hour that my machine is going to work to make product Z, I am going to get a contribution of $9 per machine hour. So 300 into $9, it will give me a total contribution of 2,700 per 100 units that I produce for the customer. I will use 300 hours out of the remaining. I am still left with a balance of how many hours? I am left with a balance of 1,125 minus 300. I am left with a balance of 825 hours. Okay. So if I produce product X, product Y, and product Z for my customer, I am going to get this much contribution. Now I am left with 825 hours. How many hours I am left with? 825. In that 825 hours, first preference I will give to produce product X. Every unit of product X, requires 1.5 hours. So I have 825 hours. How many units can I produce? I can produce 825 cross multiplied divided by 1.5. I can produce I think there's a calculation error. 1,500 units were there. From that, I used up 450 hours. For product X, I used up 375 hours for product Y. So 1,050 minus 375, it gives me 675 hours. And then I used up 300 hours. So I'm left with how many hours? I'm left with 375 hours. Now 1 unit of product X requires 1.5 hours. I have 375 hours. How many units of product X I can make? So we will divide 375 divided by 1.5. 375 divided by 1.5. I'm getting I can make 250 units. Do I have a capacity to produce 250 units? The maximum number of units that I could have made for product X was 600. From that, you remove 300, which you already made for the customer. 300 was still balanced. I want only 250 units as per the ranking. So, the remaining 375 hours, I will use to make what? I will use to make product X remaining quantity. Product X remaining quantity. Remaining quantity, that is I will make 250 units. Every unit requires 1.5 hours. My balance is 375 hours. That is exactly the leftover hours that I have. Every unit is going to contribute $10 per machine hour. So I'm going to receive 3750. I'm going to receive 3750. The total contribution now that I have is out of producing following option 2 is 4,500 plus 3,000 plus 2,700 plus 3,750. I have a total contribution of 13,950. From this, I will subtract my fixed cost, which was 14,100. The fixed cost would remain same whichever option you follow. If you fulfill your customer's order, you are ending up making a loss of 150. Loss per month. So that means it is very evident that option number 2 you are not going to select. Now you have to advise which option the company should choose. Justify your advice by discussing both the options. So you will discuss both the options and then you will advise which option to choose. Since you're very clear, you can write that you have to obtain 5 marks. You have to write that the company should choose option 1. The company should choose option 1. Okay, then they want you to discuss both the options. So we will discuss both the options. So option 1, you can write maximum 2 points for option 1 and 2 points for option 2. 5 marks you will get. Advice is normally given at the end. Okay, so if the company chooses option 1, the company makes this is 4 we are writing. So the company will make most possible profit. It is possible to make up the missing element of the major customer's order by holding products over from previous month. The company could also fulfill customer's order out of previous month's production. You have to say an against also for option 1. The against would be if the company does not fulfill customer's order. If the company does not fulfill customer's order, it might end up losing the customer. This could be the only against point for option 1. Option 2, if you see, okay, the only for is that it is holding the customer and not disappointing the customer. Which will ensure that the customer would remain for you in the future. And against is that if option 2 is chosen, it gives us loss for the month, which can affect the liquidity, of the product, of the company, sorry. And company may not be able to meet its commitment, may not be able to meet commitments. Thus, looking at the above, our advice is that the company should choose option 1, which is the most profitable option. So the new thing that we learned is, we learned how to choose the optimum product plan. Optimum product plan is the plan that we use when we have limited resources. Okay, you can produce more, but the resources to produce the output is less. So in that case, you would choose the product which gives you the highest contribution per hour. And you would rank the product in that order and produce the output as per the ranking. This is called the optimum product plan. With this, we complete our most recent past paper question, which is of Feb March 21, paper code 9706, paper variant 22. Okay. After this, you can try out a sum of October, November 2020, 9706, paper 23. This sum also deals with the limiting factor wherein they will ask you to find out the optimum product plan. And when you have to find out the optimum product plan, the thing that you have to do is you have to find out the contribution per machine hour or per labor hour, whatever is there in the question. If you find out that, that will give you the optimum product plan. And when you have to make an optimum product plan, you will rank the product based on the availability that you have. You can definitely try this problem for yourself. We would solve this sum in our next video. Okay. For now, we will continue with certain more important concepts that I would want to teach you right now. Let's practice few sums related to the break-even point. You know that the break-even point is what? It is the total fixed cost upon the contribution per unit. Break-even point is a point where you earn no profit, no loss. You are at a situation where you make zero profit, zero loss, and break-even point can be calculated in two ways. It can be calculated break-even point in units, and you can calculate break-even point in dollars. Remember, if you're calculating break-even point in units, what you need is the contribution per unit. And if you're calculating break-even point in dollars, you will need the contribution to sales ratio. Okay. So let's do a little bit of sums and try to thorough our concepts. Following information is given for the production and sales of 50,000 pencils. Selling price is given, material, labor, fixed cost is given. Calculate the break-even point for Pimkills. So they've not given anything. So I will take this as break-even point in units. And this we would take break-even point in terms of sales revenue. Two things you will need. You will need the contribution per unit. Second thing you will need is the contribution to sales ratio. Let's find out the contribution per unit. It is the selling price minus the variable cost. Selling price is 30. The total variable cost 9, 10, 17. 30 minus 17 gives me the contribution per unit of $13 per unit. Contribution to sales ratio is contribution upon sales into 100. So contribution is 13. What is the sales? 30 into 100. My contribution to sales ratio is 43.33%. My suggestion to you is that whenever you get an answer in points, try to find the break-even revenue by multiplying units with the selling price. Come on, break-even point in units. Break-even point in units would be your total fixed cost upon contribution per unit. Total fixed cost. Now they've given us fixed cost per unit, but it is based on the planned production. So you multiply both of them. So it will come up to 25,000. 2,50,000 divided by contribution per unit is 13. So 2,50,000 divided by contribution per unit is 13. You're getting 19,230.76. But as you already know, you can never get something in a point. You cannot have units in point. So my break-even point in units is you will round it off because it is more than 5. So it will be 19,231 Pimkills. This is the A part. Because we're getting an answer in points, so for simplicity purpose, the break-even revenue, the break-even sales revenue, how will we calculate? We will multiply 19,231 into the selling price per unit. Selling price per unit is $30. So we will multiply with $30 per unit. So the answer that we are getting is $5,76,930. Third thing, we are asked to find out the margin of safety. No percentage given. That means the margin of safety is in units. Margin of safety is in unit. The actual sales or forecasted sales, that is 50,000. Actual sales or forecasted sales, that is 50,000 minus the break-even units, that is 19,231. This would leave us with minus it, you'll get 30,769 Pimkills. This is your margin of safety. That means you are quite safe. You are safe with 30,769 units. To be in a no profit, no loss situation, your production could fall by 30,769 units. You're very safe in the market. Let's proceed to the next sum. This is we've given for self-evaluation. You can always check your answers. Proceed to the next sum. They wanted the break-even point for hoopers. They want the break-even point for hoopers, and they also want the margin of safety. Nothing given. You can find the break-even point in units also, and you can find the break-even point in dollar revenue also, break-even revenue. What you need is you need two things. The first thing that you need is the contribution per unit. Second thing that you need is the contribution to sales ratio. Contribution per unit. You don't have per unit. Oh, You can find out the contribution to sales ratio. Contribution upon sales in 200. We can do it. We can find per unit also. We just need to divide everything by 2450. Let's divide everything by 2450 and arrive at per unit figures. $56,350 divided by 2450. Number of units of direct material 23. 41,650 divided by 2450. Number of hoopers, you have direct labor 17. Fixed cost, you don't need to do anything. Sales revenue 183,750 divided by number of hoopers 2450 is giving you 75 as your sales revenue. Now sales minus the variable cost will give you contribution 75 and the total variable cost is 20, 30, 40. 75 minus the total variable cost, you're going to get contribution per unit. Contribution per unit is 35 per unit. Contribution to sales ratio be contribution upon sales in 200. Contribution divided by sales in 200. It is giving me 46.67%. Let's find the break-even point in units. Total fixed cost is how much? 54,000. Upon the contribution per unit, that is 35, you will get the break-even point in unit is 1542.85. You can never have answers in points, so it is 1543 units. Break-even point in revenue dollar would be 1543 into selling price, that is 75. So 1543 into 75. 1,15,725 in dollars. Let's check it for our convenience. Total sales 183,750 minus variable cost, material and labor 56,350 for the material, 41,650 for the labor. But am I doing it correct? I'm finding out the break-even thing. So I will have to take the break-even units. Break-even units is 1543 units. So total sales 75 into 1543. Variable cost is both together 40 into 1543. Let's see. Total sales is coming up to 1,15,725. Total variable cost is coming up to 61,720. Just minus it. 1,15,725 minus 61,720. You have 54,005. Because this answer was in points, you're going to minus your fixed cost, which is 54,000. You are left with no profit, no loss of $5, which is equivalent to it. That means you are correct. Because the answer is in points, so little bit here and there is fine. Margin of safety. How will you find out margin of safety? Margin of safety is actual units, actual sales or actual forecasted sales in units minus the break-even point sales in units. Actual forecasted sales is 2450. Break-even sales is 1543. So 2450 minus 1543 will give you 907 units, which is your margin of safety. That means you're selling 907 units more than what is required. Okay, let's proceed to the next sum. Here they've given you to evaluate Like we have calculated per unit. Break-even point was total fixed cost 1543. And this is your margin of safety, 907 whoopers. Next question. You need to find the break-even point for torques and the margin of safety for docks. You can pause the video, calculate for yourself. Remember, you are given the fixed cost in per unit. However, fixed cost we would always multiply with a targeted number of units that we produced. So fixed cost will never be in units when you are going to calculate profit or loss or any other thing. Okay, so fixed cost you need to find out. So your total fixed cost is 1,500 into 7.5. Your total fixed cost is 11,250. The next thing you need is the contribution per unit. Once you find out your total fixed cost, once you find out your contribution per unit, you can get your break even for docks. How do you get contribution per unit? Sales minus variable costs. What is the sales? It is 40. What is the variable cost? It is the summation of these two, 18, 19, 20, 21. What is your contribution per unit? It is 19. So break even for docks would be the total fixed cost, that is 11,250 upon the contribution per unit, that is 19. So break even in units, 11,250 divided by 19, you are getting 592.105. You can always round off. Okay, so it is 593 dorks. It is always advisable that whenever you're finding the break-even point, you mention whether you're finding it in units or you're finding it in the dollar value. Margin of safety, how will you calculate your margin of safety? Achievable sales minus the break-even sales. What is your achievable sales? Your break-even sales was 593. Achievable sales was 1,500. So when you minus from your achievable sales, break-even sales, you'll get margin of safety as 907. Okay, I'm very clear with this. Now the next part that we have to discuss is about sales required to achieve a desired level of profit. So up till now, what we've already discussed is we've discussed about contribution to sales ratio. We also discussed how the contribution to sales ratio helps to find out the profit at different level of sales. We learned about break-even point. We learned about break-even points, how to calculate in units and how to calculate in the dollar revenue. If you have to calculate the break-even point in units, you need the contribution per unit. If you have to find out the break-even point in dollar revenue, you have to find out the contribution to sales ratio. Numerator would always be the total fixed cost. We also studied margin of safety and margin of safety percentage. We also studied how to make an optimum product plan depending upon ranking the product based upon contribution per machine hour. An optimum product plan is made thinking which product should be given more preference. The product which gives you more contribution per hour should be given more preference, and that product should be produced first so that you get the maximum profit. This optimum product plan is made when you have limited number of hours. And you can produce more number of goods. Now, the next thing that we're going to discuss is what amount of goods should be sold if you want to achieve a desired profit. You would see the management would always say that I am to have a profit of $1,50,000, or I am to have a profit of 10 million for the coming year. So in that case, we have to find out how many units should we sell so that we can earn our desired profit. So when I'm talking about units that I have to sell to reach my target profit, I would always look at what is the target contribution that I aim to achieve from the sales of the product. Okay, but now I want to have the target contribution to earn that profit. My marginal costing statement says sales minus variable cost will give you contribution minus the fixed cost will give you profit. You need to know the target contribution to get the desired profit. That means you want to recover the fixed costs, plus you want to earn this much amount of profit. This is your desired profit. So when I have to find the sales to achieve the desired profit, the number of units that I have to sell to achieve the desired profit, I would recover this, and I would recover the profits from the contribution. Okay, so break-even analysis can be used to determine the level of production and the sales revenue that I need in order to achieve a particular level of profit. This is very useful to the managers when planning the future activities of the business. So the units to be sold to reach the target profit would be, I would recover the fixed costs and my profit that I require upon the contribution per unit. Remember, whenever you want answers in units, you will divide it by units. Always note that fixed cost plus profit would be the targeted or desired contribution that you wish to achieve from the sales. It can also be termed as the total contribution required to earn a desired profit. So if I have to find out the sales or the units to be sold to reach the target profit, in the fixed cost, I will add the targeted profit divided by the contribution per unit. I will get the number of units that I require to sell to achieve my desired profits. Okay, let's look out with an example. Calculate the number of units. Calculate the number of units that needs to be sold if you want to achieve a profit of 80,000. So the number of units that I need to sell, the number of units to be sold. I want to achieve a desired profit of how much? I want to achieve a desired profit of 80,000. But over and above this profit, I also have to recover my fixed cost. So my fixed cost that I have to recover is 60,000 from the contribution. So from the contribution, I have to recover the fixed cost and the profit. But I want to find the number of units, so I will divide it with the contribution per unit. What is the contribution per unit? Sales minus variable cost. 56 minus the variable cost is 32. 24 is my contribution per unit. So what is the units to be sold to achieve the desired profit? I will recover 60,000 of the fixed cost. 80,000 is my desired profit. Contribution per unit is 24. Okay. So I have to have a minimum contribution of 1,40,000. Contribution per unit is 24. So I minimum have to sell 5834 units to earn the desired profit. It is actually coming up to 5833.33, but I will round it off because you can't sell units in points. I hope this is very clear. So you need to sell 5834 units to earn a profit of 80,000. Let's proceed to the next sum. You can always evaluate your answers from the worksheets that I have provided you. Let's proceed to the next one. Calculate the sales revenue. When they're asking you to calculate the sales revenue, that means they're asking you to calculate the sales to earn. Okay, they're asking you to calculate the sales to earn the profit of 90,000. Now, when they've asked you for revenue, remember that they are asking you for amount in dollars. Try. They want you to calculate the sales to achieve a profit of 90,000. Okay. So because you want the answer in revenue, you will divide it by the contribution to sales ratio. Sales revenue or the sales volume to give you profit of 90,000 would be, you will try to recover your fixed cost, that is 1,40,000, and you want a profit of 90,000. Now, because you want an answer in dollars, you will divide it by the CS ratio, contribution to sales ratio. So 1,40,000 plus 90,000, you want to recover 2,30,000. What is the contribution to sales ratio? You have a contribution of 2,10,000. Sales is 4 lakh. Contribution upon sales in 200 will give you the contribution to sales ratio. So contribution is 2,10,000. Sales is 4 lakh. Your contribution to sales ratio is 52.5%. So 2,30,000 divided by 52.5%. Would give you an answer of 4,38,095.2. You can keep it as 095 or you can keep 4,38,096. Because you want profit, you can always round it up to a higher figure. Okay, so the sales volume that you require is 4,38,096 if you want a profit of $90,000. If you want a profit of $90,000, you already have a sales of 4 lakh. So you need to increase your sales you have to increase your sales by more, 38,096 to earn a profit of 90,000. So increase your sales by more 38,096 from the current level of your 4 lakhs. Okay, so this you can always see in the MS. I have given the answers for self-evaluation. You can evaluate yourself. Try this sum. Now here you need to prepare a break-even graph, show the break-even point and the margin of safety. This we would do in our next video.